We kept our relationship a secret for a long time, quietly building something strong while shielding it from the judgment we feared. Eventually, we decided to tell our families. Her parents reacted just as we'd feared, furiously. They locked her in the house, called her names, threatened to take her back to India, claiming she'd brought disgrace to the family. The fallout was intense and deeply unsettling. But after a week of emotional chaos, things began to shift. They agreed to meet me and my parents. It helped that we were from the same linguistic and caste background. Even more absurdly, my fair skin, and the fact that I was studying medicine somehow worked in our favor. It was a ridiculous basis for approval, but it opened doors. Once they realized I wasn't the shame they imagined, their tone softened. Eventually, they not only accepted us, they insisted we get married immediately. But we weren't ready. We explained that we wanted to wait until I finished medical school, which was still 3 years away. Reluctantly, they agreed. Time passed. I finished med school, started working as a doctor, and thought things had finally reached a calm point. But now the pressure is back. Her family wants us to set a wedding date, to plan an elaborate Indian ceremony with extended relatives and rituals. The expectation is back in full force. We had been together for 6 years, since university. We were each other's first everything. First love, first kiss, first sexual partner. We weathered the usual ups and downs of young love, and grew from teenagers into adults. I'm 23 now, standing at the start of a promising medical career. And I used to think our relationship would be part of that journey. I loved the comfort of what we had, the quiet stability, the shared routines. But that all changed last October. I'd been overseas for 6 months for my final clinical rotations, and the distance had worn us thin. By the time I returned, I was buried in exam prep and drowning in stress. We started arguing more. One morning, a small fight broke out because I accidentally woke her up after a long night of studying. She told me she felt neglected. I apologized and said we'd talk after her shift. That evening, she went out drinking with her coworkers. Drunk, hurt, and impulsive, she ended up giving oral sex to one of them, in the bathroom of the bar. Midway through, she panicked, called a friend to pick her up, and came home. That same night, she confessed everything, trembling, sobbing, begging for forgiveness. But I didn't feel anything. No rage. No heartbreak. Just exhaustion and a dull, cold void. After that night, she transformed herself into the ideal partner. She quit the pharmacy job she loved, severed all ties with her coworkers, and took a low-paying waitressing job. She handed me access to her phone, messages, everything. She sought therapy, paid for couples counseling, though I never went, and started living like she had to earn my forgiveness every single day. She cooked, cleaned, did my laundry, bought me clothes for graduation, and even gifted me a solo trip to Antarctica. She became so careful, so considerate. It almost felt like she was trying to erase herself just to fit the shape of my pain. But none of it mattered. I felt nothing. Her hugs felt foreign. Her presence felt heavy. I didn't want her near me, not even at my graduation. When I pushed her away, her disappointed face should have hurt. But it didn't. Not really. I kept thinking, if a single moment could destroy everything we built over 6 years, how fragile was it to begin with? I didn't want to spend my youth in therapy, just to force myself to feel something again. I wasn't angry. I was done. And I knew deep down that I didn't love her anymore. Over the holidays, I sat her down and told her the truth. Everything in my life was thriving except this relationship. But she couldn't accept it. She clung to the hope that we could recover. Even after I moved into my own place, she kept showing up. I knew I could block her, change the locks, cut her out completely, but that felt too cruel after all she'd done. And so I let her linger. Friends urged me to give her another chance. Said she'd earned it. But I couldn't even pretend to care. I didn't have the strength to lie to myself anymore. 5 days after writing everything down, I decided to end it for good. I took a day off work, asked some mutual friends to help pack her things, and called her over after her shift. Calmly, I told her it was over. I returned her belongings, offered to pay her back for every gift, including the Antarctica trip. I told her I felt nothing. No hate. No sorrow. Just a sense of finality. She broke down, sobbed, begged, She talked about the life we dreamed of. Promised she'd be better. Promised everything. But none of it moved me. When she started causing a scene, my friends gently let her out. She left her gifts behind, refused the money, returned my keys. I told her to lose my number. No contact, no more. That should have been the end. But her family couldn't let it go. Her deeply traditional parents showed up at my family's house, furious and blaming me, accusing me of ruining her life, demanding that I marry her to restore her honor. But my father calmly shut them down. He showed them emails, her written confession of what happened. They crumbled immediately, begged us not to tell anyone, and left. Now I hear they're planning to take her back to India for an arranged marriage. Some mutual friends tried to guilt me into reconsidering, to save her. I shut them down. Hard. I told them if they were so concerned, they could marry her themselves. I made it clear. If they couldn't respect my decision, they were no longer welcome in my life. Since the breakup, I've felt nothing but relief. Even the hardest parts of my job seem easier now. The emotional weight is gone. My parents are relieved too. They never truly liked her. And finally, they've stopped bringing up marriage. I feel like I can breathe again. I don't regret anything. I'm just hoping this chapter is fully closed now. No more drama. No more guilt. No more ghosts of a love that no longer exists. I'm moving forward. And I'm not looking back.